What's going on, guys? It's Jeff. We're here back on some more Black Ops 6. Today is the beginning of Black Ops 6 Season 2, which added this PPSH-41, a classic weapon. Initially, when they were teasing a fan favorite weapon, an old school weapon, a lot of people were hoping that it was the MP40, but it turns out to be the PPSH, which I don't hate it. I've always enjoyed the PPSH. Not nearly as iconic as the MP40, but definitely not a bad weapon. Also, they ended up adding this Feng 82. Now, there are also other changes in the game, like changes and stuff to like ADS speeds, reloads, and other buffs and nerfs and shit across the board. I don't really know what I'm gonna notice or what I'm not gonna notice. I don't know if I should just play Nuketown or what. Also, obviously, the new Zombies map is out. I'm gonna play that probably tomorrow. Today, I'm just gonna use the new weapons and go from there. I could do 10v10, I could do Nuketown. Well, let's do Nuketown. It's probably gonna be bad, though, let's be honest. Also, update on me over on Marvel Rivals, mentioning and talking about how, what's the word? Inconsistent it could be. Being a support, you're even more dependent on, like, other players actually being good, because really your whole objective is to keep other people alive, and if they're not very good, then yeah. I ended up hitting Diamond. I think I'm Diamond 2, almost Diamond 1. Like I was saying, I was pretty sure I could go and get into GM. Probably, it just seems a little bit too easy. The way that the ranking system is, it's too easy. It's not that I think that, like, you should get more or less points or something like that, or need to require more or less points. It's 100 points. It's normal, right? Nothing crazy. Other games have that exact thing. But the thing about other games, though, it's just way easier to get more games in. That game's sweaty as hell. I'm cool off that. Not doing Nuketown. Let's do 10v10. Unironically, the game has gotten easier the higher rating I have gone. Now, sure, that'll level off at some point. It'll obviously actually get difficult, but I've never played a Marvel Rivals game where I'm like, man, that was really hard. I don't feel any stress when I play the game. It's really odd. Usually I have some kind of form of like ranked anxiety, or I get tired after what I can run 30 games and I'm not even tired. Even if I lost the majority of those matches, I don't care. I could just queue up again. It's like I could go on a 6-game losing streak, drop out of a thing, go on like a 4-game winning streak, and then it'll promote me and I'll be higher than I was before. Like, you can just climb even with a sub 50% win rate. You can still climb. I really don't think it's difficult to climb in the game at all. Also, I'm sure at some point, like, I'm gonna notice the skill difference, but like, I haven't ever ran into somebody in the game where I go, whoa, that guy is really good. Don't want to play them again. It's not really like that. Okay, I get this stupid ass map again. I'm not playing that. I don't care. You can't make me play that map. They also added this like new crossplay feature where you can turn crossplay on and off, or you can keep it on but like only be between consoles. I think this is to just reduce the overall like hacking issue at the moment. The anti-cheat still hasn't caught up. I've been seeing clips of people still hacking straight this morning. Although I will say it's definitely more common in ranked. Dude, can we add shipment to this game? I really haven't gotten anything going with this PPSH. Maybe I should just play like TDM, slow it down a little bit. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. They did slow down the ADS speed on Sniper Rifle. I don't think it's really that noticeable of a nerf, but it is a nerf, yeah. Although it is buffed in other ways. I saw Scope talking about how apparently the Frost line is really good now. But I always thought that it was good, so I don't really know what the changes are. These lobbies are really weird because people are freezing in the background and the camera is completely panning away. I don't know if that's meant to be what's happening, but I don't recall that being the case before. Oh, also, Eagles going to the Super Bowl. They ended up stomping the Commanders pretty bad, and now they're gonna get their rematch against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, the Bills can't pull through a game. I would have loved for the Eagles to play the Bills because I feel like that's a more winnable game than the Chiefs. The Chiefs are easily like the most dominant at the moment. They have been for the past few years, but I think the Eagles can win this one. I think that the Eagles are in a better position to win this one than they were in, what was it, 2022? I think the Eagles look stronger than they did in 2022, and the Chiefs look weaker. Now, that doesn't really mean anything because, after all, it really matters what happens on the day of. You can sit there and break all this shit down, look at all the stats, compare everything across the board, look at matchups and all that shit. None of that really ends up mattering in the end. I mean, there are people that do talk shows every single week, every single day leading up to every single game, and these people are not right about their picks a lot of the time. These people do this shit for a living. Now, just because they're wrong doesn't mean that they're not good at their jobs. The issue is that end up putting a little bit too much faith in the overall, like, statistics of it all. Now, it is a little bit more consistent in, like, traditional sports, whereas I'm over here trying to predict fights where anything can happen. And obviously, I'm not some professional analyst either. But I cannot get anything going with this weapon. It's like people are coming out of nowhere. They apparently ended up reducing the overall, like, really shitty reverb that they ended up having. Terrible reverb that they had on footsteps in the game. They didn't remove it. Okay, they reduced the reverb sound effect. I mentioned this a few weeks ago and even showed examples of players that, like, were not good at the game, straight up not knowing where to go and where to look whenever they heard footsteps. Because the reverb was so insane, like, so you would hear a footstep footstep, and you would have the footstep audio itself and directionally where it is. However, that footstep wouldn't just make the noise about where you're stepping at and then like directionally where they are in comparison. It would also bounce off of other walls and stuff, and like, yeah, I guess that makes it more realistic audio-wise, like to real life, but not really. It was definitely overdone. Like in real life, I could definitely still hear where somebody is coming from, even if they were in like a long hallway or some shit like that. But before, you could straight up see or hear somebody down a hallway and they'll be directly in front of you, but then it'll bounce off of the wall to your right and it'll sound like they're in the room to the right. I did see some people complaining about the audio reduction and saying that casual players wouldn't like this change and that casual players need to have audio in order to like enjoy the game. And while I do agree that the casual players are absolutely carried by overwhelming audio, that was the case during Modern Warfare 2019 and the majority of Warzone, they're only bringing it back to what it was. Not like this overly exaggerated version of audio that they had for the past, you know, 2 months or whatever. And again, like I was saying, just because there's more audio doesn't necessarily mean that it's better for the bad players. Or I should just say casuals, not the bad players, the casuals. Because there are people that aren't casuals, but they're still awful at the game. I think the audio change is much better. I'm sure you can hear the audio over in Warzone still. I know I've mastered Prestige. Please stop telling me. Unlocked in the Shadow Hunt event, Slipstream. Yeah, I was curious about this one. This also might be a sign that we might not be getting Tac Sprint the next year. I know that that's just weird speculation, but sometimes they do that to try to get a little bit of feedback about what's going on, specifically from the players, whether people will use it a lot or if they're fine with the Tac Sprint or whatever. Because I am seeing a good amount of people talking about not wanting Tac Sprint in the game. I don't necessarily hate it or anything, but I wouldn't mind if it was gone as well. I mean, people enjoyed Cold War and it didn't have it. Yeah, I don't notice anything massively different, which I mean isn't the worst thing ever. I do notice the audio difference, but past that, yeah, I don't know. It might be a little fun to go for the Dark Matter on here. Go for Dark Matter, it'll be cool. But what's the challenges on Warzone? Why am I looking at this? Kills while moving, kills shortly after sprinting. Oh, easy, okay. Yeah, when I was initially talking about Marvel Rivals a few weeks ago, I had some people in the, I said casually that, yeah, just give me a little bit of time. I could probably at least hit GM. And I'm straight up like a 5 or 6 game win streak off of GM. I really don't think it's that difficult to get to GM. I'm also like at a 50% win rate. Like I'm not dominating by any means and I'm just climbing. Like it's really not hard. Spam games. I saw people like talking about all this shit of like treating it like League of Legends, like, oh, if you have a bad game and if you're having a bad time, just get off. You're not gonna play your best, blah, blah, blah. Dude, I don't feel like I even have to play my best. I'm barely paying attention half the time, I swear. There's no thoughts in these games. There really is. The only thing you sit there and keep tabs of are ultimates. And the whole thing is just trading ultimates back and forth. It's all about who ends up having more defensive ults than the other. The whole thing is about farming ultimates and then holding those ultimates until the right time. I think it's really easy to queue up games. It's not even close or nearly the same as something like League of Legends where you spend on average 30 minutes to an hour, unless you're lucky and get a forfeit, a surrender. There's one guy on the other team. What the fuck? That guy, that poor dude was just getting farmed. 20 and 36. We had like 20 kills to go and we got them all on him to end the game. He didn't even leave. Marvel Rivals, you can win and lose games within 10 minutes on average. So you can just get way more games in so you can climb way faster. To be fair, that does also mean that you can fall faster, but it's overall way less frustrating. On top of that, League of Legends is like, it's slow enough for you to be able to sit around and then concentrate on what everybody else is doing. Whereas on Marvel Rivals, yeah, you can be a person that's sitting there scoreboard watching and everything, but really the scores and like overall like kill deaths and overall healing and damage and shit like that, it only tells so much of the story. So you can't even really go in on people during the game, so it makes the game feel less long and agonizing to deal with, listening to people moan and groan and cry. Now, given I have all of my chats and shit completely turned off and I've gotten here, would I have done better with the chat on? That's debatable. I'll be honest, it's very debatable. The egos in ranked games are easily the worst thing about ranked overall. Not to say that I don't have some kind of ego or some shit like that. What I'm saying is, you're not gonna make anything out of this. Please stop acting like you're on some kind of circuit or some shit. You're not gonna make it. This is when shit ends up getting personal, when I have to actually talk to people, because I gotta tell you the truth, you're not making it. You struggling and screaming at people in a diamond game changes absolutely, it amounts to nothing. It means nothing. It amounts to nothing. And when I hit GM, again, it will mean nothing. I'm just doing what I said I was gonna do. Anyway, updates out. Definitely go and check it out if you haven't already. It's okay. I mean, nothing crazy about the update from what I understand so far as I played it. But maybe other people are noticing other things way more than I am. But I haven't played the game the past few weeks, so maybe I just forgot about some of the shit. Hopefully they end up fixing a lot of the issues that a lot of people have. Tomorrow, I'm gonna be making a video over on the Tomb, the new Zombies map. This right over here. Let's go to Zombies, Standard, Solo. the Tomb. I never did the Citadel Easter egg, so I never got that, but whatever. Pretty excited to try out the Tomb. I've been enjoying the zombies maps whenever I played them, even if I have no idea what I'm doing a lot of the time. It's still straightforward enough. It's fun to just run around in circles, survive for whatever amount of rounds, see all the cool shit. It's also a smaller map, so I enjoy those a lot more. So not only do I enjoy the smaller multiplayer maps, I also enjoy the smaller zombies maps. I think it's cozy.